Hi. So I'm jumping into my assignment for week 2 of the illustration class I'm taking from Swatches Academy. If you missed the first part, you can check it out here and see how I got to this point. I wasn't sure how I wanted to create these more documentative videos, so please forgive me for the lack of vlog footage if you were looking for it. If you're new here, I'm currently living abroad in Japan and taking an online fantasy illustration course. This week we focused on getting together composition ideas for the final illustration. When you see the final compositions, you might look at them and wonder if they needed a week, but hopefully after seeing the process, you'll know that the answer is yes. Yes, they needed a whole week's worth of work. That was fun to say. But anyway, right now I'm designing the main weapon for my character, which is a magical axe that summons the threads of destiny. And here's the final design. I made sure to add gold to match the character's costume, and I thought the spiral on the handle helped bring in the threads of destiny element. So now with that out of the way, I can move into the composition. But first, a word from our sponsor. Excuse me, ma'am, can we have a word from you? Ma'am, excuse me. Excuse me. She said to drink water. Thank you for your time. Okay, so jumping into the compositions, I made a horizontal canvas and then created 8 boxes for different composition ideas. One of the best tips I learned in the past is to start off basic, and this was reinforced by my instructors this term. Fun fact, they called these basic figures meeple. Isn't that adorable? But anyway, for the first pass, I focused on the pose and major lines/shapes. My main goal is to make sure each pose is different while simultaneously not straining myself to make the most unique poses in the world. To help with this, I have finished illustrations on my tablet off to the side to get an idea of what a quote-unquote good pose looks like. I also look at what I've made already and see if I can recycle elements, like holding the axe with one hand, for example, or having rocks around the character. One thing that I learned that I'm trying to implement is using rhythm in my compositions. Yeah, you know that principle of design you had to learn in your high school art class that didn't make sense because rhythm is for music? Well, actually the principles seem weird in general. Like, I looked them up and no one can agree on how many principles there actually are. Like, one website says 7, another says 17. But back to my point, I'm trying to be more conscious of adding repeated vertical lines, swirls, slanted lines, etc. Now that each box is filled, it's time to think about proper anatomy to the best of my ability. I made these mannequins during Istabrag's Patreon apprenticeship last year. We were let loose and just told to do random anatomy studies, so I made mannequins to help simplify major bones and muscles. I also did this to bring more action and fluidity to my work. In the compositions, I'm trying to exaggerate the poses more because my teachers told me to. Although we were told to push the poses in the early stage because they become more stiff as you progress through the illustration. If it's loose in the beginning, then it should feel more natural towards the end. But now that those are done, I am going to make some cookies. So I'm making chocolate chip cookies. I usually bake during vacation, but I just decided to make cookies because I wanted cookies. But yeah, so I'm making the batter and I'm watching Is It Cake, and this is the finale of the second season, and one of the contestants happened to be making a cake that looks like a painting, which I thought was funny since this is a an art channel. But yeah, they're gonna show which one. I don't know which one it is yet, but we'll see. Yeah, I love watching stuff while I bake, so yeah, it's exciting. Okay, continuing the cookie making chronicles, I got these Lindt chocolate balls and I cut them in half, and I'm going to put them in, I put them in the middle of these cookies. I'm gonna cover it. I have some more dough, so I'm gonna cover them and see if I can make cookies with chocolate in the middle. I just yeah, I'm gonna try to use this chocolate. I got a pack. I ate half of them, but then I got bored, so I was oh, let me put them in cookies. Yeah, so I can't wait to see how this turns out. This is the finished product. I can't wait to see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, let's see what happened. Wow, so gooey. Ta-da. Yeah, it's like it's stuck in there in between. That looks so good. Also, I'm so happy, like, usually when I make chocolate chip cookies, I follow like recipes from like the UK, because I was thinking since they use a metric system and Japan uses a metric system, it's like, oh, okay, let me yeah, I'm American. Anyway, let me use that. But they always came out like really cakey, so this time I just decided to follow like a Japanese recipe, since you know, like, they use the same tools that I have because I live here. Anyway, and yeah, it came out like a cookie, so I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to eat this. It's so good. So I'm working on my homework now and doing thumbnails. So I have 3 done, and this is over a span of like, how long has it been? Maybe like 5 days. But I have 8 to do in total. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left to do. And like I said, these took me over the span of 5 days. So that's gonna be fun. I have this is the finished character design that I did, so I have to like fit the design, like the clothes, onto the sketches that I did for the thumbnails. So these are gonna be kind of like my final thumbs, and then I did do you know, I shouldn't say this is, I guess this is more like maybe 2 days of work actually, because I forgot that I did the under base. So let me bring the opacity up. So this is more of a span of like 3 to 4 days. So yeah, but this isn't gonna work because I need to make sure that the outfit works with the thumb ideas that I have. But one issue that I'm running into is like some of the bases are like really skinny and he's not. So I was like doing let me see, bring this down, bring it down. I was doing this one and started with the head, and he was on like this tiny little body, and yeah, this one was hard for me. This one, sorry, this one is hard, for some reason. So yeah, I have to work on that. That's like the hard thing too. It's like you start, but then you have to like fix things, and that takes time. But yeah, oh, my battery's low, but I'm watching Tricky Wagon. I haven't seen her videos in a while, but now that I'm trying to get more into like vlogging and all that stuff, I'm like trying to see what she puts in her videos, because it's kind of like a mix of like lifestyle and art, and that's what I'm trying to do. So yeah, fun stuff. So I managed to get 1.5 thumbnails done this morning. Actually, I can't even remember if I started this one. I think I did. I think I did like a quarter or like an eighth of something of this one. So yeah, I got like some of this done. Why did I've always wanted to make complicated like scenes and characters, but having to think about it in different, like the design, these complicated designs in different angles, and 8 different angles in different scenes. It's like why did I do this to myself? But I guess the good thing is this is kind of like the first time I've done this. I've done thumbnails, but I've usually done like simple shapes, and I do like 6 or something like that. But I've never done like a full scene, so I think for like the first time doing this, I'm okay, and I think once I start doing this again and make it like routine, it'll just become easier. But yeah, it's gonna be a long, I think this is due, I think I have like, what is it, I have to turn it in by 2 tomorrow. I actually try to get it in like a few hours earlier so I can try to get like a paint over. So what am I trying to say? So 12 and it's like 7 now, so I have like a day and like a few hours to get this done. So yeah, it's gonna be busy, but yeah, I have work. I have to go to work. So yeah, this is my Saturday. I get up around like, I want to get up around like 5:30, but I don't set an alarm for 5:30. So if I get up, then I get up, and if I don't, then oh well. But I do have an alarm for 6, so I'll just like get up. And if it is at 6, then I'll just like turn on the computer and just like draw. And then I have like this timer thing. I think I've probably mentioned it or like showed it before, but it'll give me like break time. So in between that break time, I'll like eat breakfast and then like do stuff for like peanut butter, like change her litter, make sure she has like food and water and stuff like that, and then I'll make lunch, and then after that's done, then I shower and do all that stuff and just like leave for work around like a later time. So anyway, that's my Saturday morning, so can't wait to go back home, come back home and just finish this. Yeah, bye for now. I eventually made it back home and started working on this so I can get it done by the deadline. I think at this point I had 17 hours left, so I was running off the fumes of crunch time and green tea because I have been trying to cut back on energy drinks. I think I've had 2 in the past 3 or 4 months, so that's an improvement from 12 to 16 that I would have had before trying not to drink them, so that's that. Anyway, at least I'm about halfway there at this point, so my main goal at this stage is to get an idea of how the items of the costume are going to fit with the pose. In the past, I've never really drawn a character with so much detail in the costume for an illustration, so I never really cared that much about like how the pose affects the visibility of the costume and like vice versa. But during the class, during the lesson for this week, we were told to keep that in mind for the thumbnails. Another thing I'm trying to do is keep the scene's perspective intact through the costume. So that means making sure that things curve up if they are above the horizon line and curve down if they are below it, as well as imagining what everything looks like from above and below. I usually keep this in mind, and there's always something new I pay attention to for each painting as my observation skills get better. I might not remember to keep everything in perspective, but I try my best. With all this in mind, I'm also trying to keep things simple. I know this might seem contradictory to what I just said, but I don't want to add every wrinkle to the cloth and a ton of cracks to the rocks. I want to suggest every major element in the piece without adding in too much detail and wasting time. For me, this means sticking to basic shapes and lines for everything. So it is Sunday morning and it's, what is it? 8:59, and I got my thumbnails done. Yay! So I'm kind of going back and working on some things now that I've gotten it to a place where I can like submit it for homework, but I did post it in the Discord chat, and I love the chat this term in my class. Like everyone's so active and like helpful, so it's awesome, and I got a lot of feedback, so I'm just going back and just tweaking things. I have like 3 hours now before the time that I want to submit this, so I'm just like going back and just fixing things and just making these better. But yeah, I'm glad I was able to get these done. I think one issue that I had why it took like the first few took so long was because I was focusing too much on like unnecessary details. Like I got like the leather. Let me see, where's my, yeah, there we go. Okay, I got the leather straps for like the armband, and then I was like trying to add like the decoration and like make sure I got all the parts for like each thing, but I feel like that was eating too much time, so later I didn't add as much detail. On some of them, like this one I have the stripe or the straps, but for the most part it's more simplified, so you get the point, but it's not taking up too much time. And yeah, so I'm just working on that for the next few hours. I think on Sundays, it depends. Like I did, when I got home yesterday, I usually just like eat and then I'll work a little bit. I want to say maybe like an hour and a half before I wanted to go to sleep. So I took like a nap, and then I woke up around like 2, and then did finish this up for 2 hours, and I like went back to bed at 4. So when I do that, I usually just like wake up whenever I want. So I went to bed around like 4:30, and then I got up at like 7:30, 8. Yeah, I got out of bed around like 8, and then yeah, stretched and did this. I started working on this. Also, I'm eating this ice. I think I've seen it before, but yeah, it's really good. It's like grapefruit flavored, and just imagine a cup of like really good ice. Like, you know, the ice where you can like crunch it easily with your teeth. So yeah, this is so good. And this is what I usually do on Sunday mornings. Like, I'll just eat something and then just work. So yeah. And that's the end of the vlog. Yeah, like I said at the beginning of this, I'm still trying to get everything together as far as like how to edit. Just finding time to make the videos is very it's hard. I'm working on it. But yeah, I just ended it here cuz it was finished. That's like that's what I turned in for my assignment. So yeah, I didn't really film anything after that, but thanks so much if you watched up to this point. I've been getting better at like thinking of things to do and like getting more footage, so hopefully I'll have everything like more cohesive down the line. But anyway, if you made it this far, thank you. If you're not subscribed and you did make it this far, extra thank you, and maybe consider subscribing. Give this a like if you liked it, and yeah, stay tuned for more. Bye.